Hi there, I'm Aileen Miziolek with the Family Business Consulting Group. I'd like to speak with you a little bit today about virtual meetings and how you can use them in your family business. I'm sure you'll agree that good communication is vital to the continuity of family business. As a family business consultant, I've got to tell you that when we meet with new clients and speak to individual family members, lack of communication continues to come out on top as one of the biggest problems, the challenges that family businesses face. This is especially true during times of transition and times of change like we have today. We hear all the time, we just need better communication around here. What happens when there are gaps in communication is that people start to fill them in with their own narratives. And this can create a lot of misunderstandings and some challenging family dynamics. For that reason, we believe that it's safer to over communicate than it is to under communicate. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I think that's really relevant here. And today, when we can't be together in rooms and discussing things together, I think it's even more important that we use tools like virtual meetings to continue to have excellent communication in families. I think that you would be surprised how the many applications you can use video conferencing for, and how you can enhance the communication for your families in really ways that you might not have thought of. So during this COVID-19 crisis, I've seen families use virtual meetings in many different ways. For example, to connect and strengthen relationships. I work with one family that had 4 branches that experienced quite a bit of tension during their last family council meeting. And to increase their level of trust and communication, we decided to create extra quarterly meetings. Now, before COVID, this was supposed to be done in person. And instead of canceling it, we decided to go ahead and do them virtually using Zoom. I have to say, this was a huge success. Every family came to this virtual space from their respective living rooms and really shared their feelings about the impact the crisis was having on themselves, the people they love, and their business. There was a lot of authenticity and transparency, and it really increased and provided cohesion between family branches. It was exactly what they were hoping for. As a matter of fact, they were able to make a joint decision and elect new co-chairs for their family council by simply raising their hands and clapping as a sign of approval and enthusiasm for the newly elected chairs. This would have been probably even more difficult to do in person. So, it was really a heartwarming thing to see this. And I encourage you to create such a check-in meeting. I think you'll find it a lot of fun and actually a really meaningful exercise for your family. So video conferencing can also be used to provide a lot of frequent updates. In another family I work with, a CEO is self-isolating, and she uses video conferencing calls for daily briefs to keep her team feeling united and focused while they're working apart. This technology really allows for quick hits of communication that may be done more frequently than you could have even done in person. These meetings, they serve a purpose for keeping teams who are working from home aligned on approach and outcomes. So no one racing off with ideas that, the other members of their team aren't aware of. And it really helps keep projects they're working on, focused and aligned. Another way to use it is for ongoing education, to sharpen skills and prepare the next generation. For example, owners and soon-to-be owners need to be able to read financial statements so they can understand and contribute to these really important decisions about shifting strategies, like going from like growth strategy, which they were all geared up for, to a cash flow preservation strategy that may be more appropriate in times of crisis like this. And reading those financial statements will help them understand why they may need to lower dividends or suspend dividends altogether for the time being. So decisions about how to adapt the business to the world we're living in right now, that requires a lot of education in some cases. And many next generations have never had to participate in such discussions. Another thing that works really well virtually is something I like to call just-in-time coaching for the rising generation. They are taking on new roles often, and they need support in these new roles and to learn how to be really effective contributors to the family business and provide leadership at times like this in these new roles. So coaching can be very effective, and it's done remotely very often. So this is nothing new to coaching, but I think leaders today really do need the support that can be provided in just-in-time coaching applications like this to help them keep aligned with their families. And it can be pretty lonely making big decisions about your business. And so we find that coaching is a great opportunity done virtually. So some applications are updating, brainstorming, learning and developing others, discussing and deciding, relationship building, and even handling conflict. We need to do this in a way that's intentional, and we have to be careful about creating enough safe space to manage conflict well using video conferencing. But we can likely go farther and handle more than we typically thought we could before we had no choice but to use video conferencing with our clients. I want you to continue to explore this medium in a way that maybe you haven't in the past. It can be really foundational to your family business continuity, in that family business who continues to work on communication during this unprecedented time will be more prepared to hit the ground running at the other end of this crisis. So please know that it does not have to be perfect to be effective. I think I've demonstrated quite a few little hiccups during this little video, and I want you to encourage not to go for perfection, but to go for speed and maybe delivery of these kinds of messages to your families and even perhaps with your clients. Platforms like Zoom are pretty user-friendly, but there's still a little bit of a learning curve. It's better to use your own screen, to have everybody on their own screen, especially if they're contributing to decision making and you want to make sure every voice is heard. It's better to be on a laptop and a desktop versus the small screen of a cell phone. Also, cell phones will have less functionality with platforms like Zoom. Also advise people to be aware of the backgrounds before they come on the call. You don't want them to feel embarrassed about an untidy background behind them. I recommend that you do a test call, especially for people who've never used the platform. And starting with a simple check-in call, like in the example I gave, keep it simple and let people get used to using this platform to communicate. There are some norms and some rules that have to be put down, like it's a good idea to be on mute if you're not talking to eliminate background noise. And raising your hand can be effective to make sure that people aren't talking over each other. And we find that sometimes older people really get distracted and find it irritating when people are talking over each other. People, especially with hearing deficiencies and things like that, or hearing aids, they may really be sensitive to that. So something to keep in mind. Give people the opportunity to really try it out and use the platform for simple things before you jump into making really important decisions. My colleague Barb Dart put together a one-page cheat sheet about the software, camera, and audio, the minimal technology you'll need to do this. And if you're interested, please let Barb or myself know, and we'll be happy to send it out to you. Also, our colleague David Lansky has some really great lists of rules for family meetings, and they're all really relevant here. He has one rule for virtual meetings: come with your pants on. There's more material on our website at thefbcg.com, as in thefamilybusinessconsultinggroup.com, and look for other videos where we'll explore some more about opportunities to use visual tools to support your family business as we learn to deepen our connection with one another in new and innovative ways at this time. Until next time, be well.